I actually planned this video for quite some time, but whenever I wanted to start producing it, I always felt like there was that one little thing missing from the overall experience. But as soon as I successfully coached someone to get the Facebook job, and after reading a pretty interesting book, Chaos Monkeys, I now feel that I have enough confidence to advise you on this matter. So throughout this video, I'll talk about both good and not so good examples on how to go about answering this question. Both, of course, given my experience with coaching people for these types of very well remunerated jobs, but also based on other factors, based on other pieces of research that I've done. So basically, if I may start here, there are 5 main reasons why I believe it's important to take this question seriously. The first one, and probably the obvious one, is that why Facebook is by far the most asked question in any Facebook interviews, regardless of the role. And it's actually not only me saying this, but they also mention this on their website. So this would be the first. The second reason why you want to prepare this is because especially for the on-site interview, any on-site interview out of the 5 or so rounds of interviews, at least one of them will be behavioral. So at least one of them, in the case of individual contributors, just technical people, and probably even more rounds in the case of people that go rather on the management track, and even so on the product manager track. So preparing this is, of course, for one of the 5 rounds of interviews, of course, something you would want to do. Another interesting reasons you may not be aware here is that Facebook actually scores candidates, and this is actually something quite common nowadays, because as there's a structured process and there's a hiring committee involved, it's actually impossible for them just to give their impressions, especially because if things go as I think they are, they will only deliberate on a candidate a few days after that on-site interview, so they must keep track of something. So you will be scored on these things, and believe me when I tell you that practicing why Facebook is a very, very good thing that you should do. The fourth reason why I believe this is important is because this is more often than not the first question in the interview, and this is actually how you set up the conversation, how you get the things going. And it doesn't have to be the on-site interview here. You could simply talk about a phone interview. So the first impression, it's also the last impression. So why not start on a positive note? Why not start energetic with a strong answer here? It will be in your advantage. And maybe just one more here. You'll be surprised how well trained are the HR people at Facebook and the interviewers at Facebook to, I quote, "You'll be impressed how well calibrated they are to identify crappy people and have an acute attention to BS." Actually, this is a quote from a candidate applying for the role, and I actually tend to believe that candidate quite a lot after also reading that book, Chaos Monkeys, of a product manager that got hired and worked there for a few years. So without further ado, let's get to the question now. So now let's begin with the bad examples, because I believe those are the most relevant as a learning experience at first. So what if you'd answer it the following way? I want to work at Facebook because I find it cool to work here. There are many cool people around here. Now, why is this answer bad? Because, in all fairness, Facebook must be a cool place to work. So why would this be a bad answer? It's a bad answer mainly because it's too simple, it's too superficial, right? There's no meat here. You can say, hey, this guy has not prepared for the for this question or for the interview for that reason. And the number one complaint that Facebook recruiters mention online is that people don't prepare for the interviews. So this is why this would actually be a bad example. Let's take another example here. So I really want this job. I really want to work at Facebook because, you see, in my current role, I feel like my potential is not well recognized, and my manager absolutely hates me. So I really believe that given my experience, you can see I have 10 years of experience working at Amazon in a similar role. So I really believe of being able to make a difference at Facebook, and I also have many friends working here. So you probably spotted that the main reason why this answer is bad is because you are actually coming with an argument that my job sucks, so please hire me. Believe it or not, I actually hear these types of reasons quite a lot, unfortunately. And I hear it not only for junior roles, but also for senior roles in my coaching stuff. But so what you should definitely keep in mind in these situations is that the interview is about yourself, your unique value proposition. Or if you say, I'm not happy with my current job, from an HR perspective, it means, hey, but what if you're not the type of person who's easy to get along with? What if you're simply a brilliant jerk? I mean, this is what an HR person understands when you say, hey, my manager sucks. So this is why this is a terrible example, despite the fact that it had some good elements in it. So avoid talking about other people when talking about these things. And in most cases, whenever you talk about other people, be very, very careful not to be interpreted in the wrong way, because this is something that HR is really, really paying attention to. So please double check these things. Example number 3. I want to work at Facebook for 3 reasons. The first reason is I was actually pleasantly surprised to see that Facebook actually celebrates diversity, and I found this while documenting myself given your culture and preparing an answer for this very question. The second reason why I want to work at Facebook is because my unique abilities, my unique skill set, I believe will make a difference here. And I know this because I have friends working here, and they actually reference me for this role. And the third reason is that if I would get this opportunity to work here, I would definitely have the chance to not only to work with some of the smartest people in the world, but also on a scale that's never seen before. So while in my role I'm working on the scale of a few million users, here we're talking about billions of users, and this is something that actually I'm quite excited about. Right, so needless to say that this answer sounded much better than the others, and I always advise people to use this template. I want to work at company for 3 reasons. Essentially, the first reason is that you praise the company. When praising the company, you should be aware that pretty much everyone does this. And you see, I mean, you must do it. Okay, if you don't want to do it, that's fine. You could also say for 2 reasons. That's perfectly fine. But if you want to praise the company, at least find something more, you see, more interesting, like I value diversity. All right. The second reason is, how can you make a difference there? How can you differentiate yourself from other candidates? Because truth be said, it's a competition after all. Like I said, you're going to be scored on different factors here, and you're competing, not necessarily competing, but you're differentiating yourself from other candidates. So you should make your point, in my opinion. And finally, the third reason is what's in for you. In my example, I said, okay, right now I'm working on a scale of a few millions users. I'll get the opportunity to work on a scale of billions of users. It's as simple as that. It's something quantifiable. Of course, you might pick your own reasons, but this is the skeleton. This is the template. So 3 reasons: praise the company. How can you make a difference there? What's in for you, or the equivalent of where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? So this would be a good way to answer this one. Now, another good way to go about answering why Facebook is to simply say, hey, John, the person who referenced me for this role, was very positive about your company, and me and John have previously worked on some very exciting projects, and in all fairness, I am the type of person who gets excited about a higher purpose and about solving complex problems, and this is one of the main reasons that I'm here today. So the main reason why these answers would be good, especially for a senior role. I wouldn't go this for a junior role, especially for a product manager. To be more specific, is because you give enough information to differentiate yourself from other people, to create a persona for you. This would be the main thing. So despite the fact that you're not structuring it, I want to work because this, and this, I still find there is a skeleton there. Hey, I was referenced by this guy. I worked with this guy previously, and I'm the type of person who connects with the company core values, and so on. And by the way, when you say you connect with the company core values, you could simply look at the 5 core values at Facebook and see what's more interesting there. Maybe watch one of Mark Zuckerberg's speeches, were quite interesting actually, to spot these types of information and see what's so interesting there. Actually, Facebook is the way Sheryl Sandberg presented the culture at Facebook and compared to the one at Google is good at AI, at creating projects, planning them, and nurturing them, and eventually releasing them after a long time. Facebook is more like a hacking culture, like good is better than perfect. So fast prototyping, fast iterations, this is more like Facebook. So if you try to manage to find a pitch within this context, basically you're good to go. And there's actually the core value, move fast. Right? So you just take something from there. You see what could be the most relevant to your experiences in one sentence that could connect with this move fast, and just throw it in that answering why Facebook. So in my opinion, you should go. This is regardless on the fact that you're applying for a technical or a non-technical role. Like connecting to a company's core values and mission, it's something regardless of the type of role that you're applying for. And by the way, Facebook is, or at least used to be, quite serious about the mission and so on, because as far as I've been reading, Sheryl Sandberg used to open every meeting with the company's mission. So there you go. This is how it works. So all in all, you see, it's a question that's worthwhile investing time into. And this, together with tell me about yourself, which actually should touch upon some of the main highlights of your career, as opposed to giving a boring enumeration of the places you've worked on that's already available in your CV. So these are the types of questions that are the appetizers that interviewers use to form an initial impression on you and to basically start a conversation. And I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to start a conversation the right way. Whenever you start a conversation the right way, people tend to be more supportive of you throughout the process. Not that, I'm saying that they won't be supportive of you as a candidate. They will be, but if you manage to create to put together a great show from the beginning, your chances inevitably increase here. And imagine that these types of questions are actually the entry point for subsequent follow-up questions that would dive into whatever else when it comes to behavioral interviewing. And not only that, it could even be an entry point for a technical interview, for a technical round of phone interview, in my opinion. So this is why it's super important that you prepare some strong answers for this one. And when I say prepare here, I don't just mean to write down these answers. There's a huge difference between what you write and what you say. There's a huge difference between what you say in a phone interview and what you say in front of a camera or in front of a person. It's tremendously different. It's incredibly different, and you should really take your time to digest these things and to learn how to make a difference, how to balance, how to see what's best to say in a face-to-face interview or in a phone interview, where you could probably have a piece of paper somewhere nearby with this answer, and probably also some other tips and tricks nearby. So be very, very careful not to talk about other people when saying why you want to work at Facebook, unless of course you're referenced by someone, in which case you would mention them. But usually these are the two main ways you would want to go about answering why Facebook. First is the 3 reasons. You praise Facebook, you differentiate yourself from others, and you say what's in for you. And the other one would be more like for product management roles, where you would basically say, like, more often than not, these people are referenced, or they have a main contact there that they know for a long time. You will reference that, and then you connect. You make a pitch to their core values that's relevant with your previous experience. So there you go. I hope you found this information useful to preparing your answer to why Facebook. And as always, thank you very much for watching.